Want to say good afternoon and once again, welcome to Wake Up Wednesday right here in the city of Tallahassee. And we're excited about what's going on around this country. Hey, things are shifting. We see what's going on in a national level. And we're excited about the news of what's happening out of Washington. Look like they're on their way to making sure that some relief comes to all of the residents throughout the nation. Also in news, we see that they are still under the working hand of investigating President Donald Trump. That's still happening. So listen, I tell you, we're excited about what's going on in and around our city. So many great things are happening. Want to say good afternoon to all of our elected officials and want to applaud them for all the work that they're doing. Listen, I need you to go ahead on tag and share because we got an exciting program. It's Black History Month, and certainly we are excited about what's going on with history. I want to give a big shout out to Mr. Charles G. If you've been following him, I want you to go ahead on and follow him on Facebook because Charles G is highlighting individuals out of Gadsden County that are part of history, that are part of Black history. And listen, there are so many great historians that have made a difference in the life of African Americans. And we can readily look back on the life of Martin Luther King, Marcus Garvey. We can look at Louis Armstrong. There's so many that we can look at. But as we move into this 21st century, who can we look to? Who can be those history makers, those game changers that we can look at, that are tangible, that we can see, that we can touch, that we can feel? And there is so many that are doing so many great things. Want to give a big shout out to Hallelujah 95.3 as they highlight from day to day different local history makers that have made a difference in the life of our community. Want to say good afternoon to you. Go ahead on and tag and share. I want you to get everybody on today because I'm going to be talking to the COO of Figures Communication. That's Mr. Jermaine Beebe. I'm going to be talking to him in a few minutes, but I want to first of all say thank God for all of you that joined us on last evening for our prayer and praise report. It was amazing. I want to just believe God that things are shifting in your life. To those of you who are listening to the broadcast in the city of Tallahassee and the surrounding areas, I want you to know that this is a season that you cannot be weary in well doing, for in due season you are going to reap if you faint not. So listen, I want you to go ahead on and tag and share. Good afternoon, Shirley Pittman, Yvonne Stewart, Vanessa McGee. Go ahead on. Let's tag, share. Let's get everybody in today as we begin to talk about what we're going to talk about. It's what's happening in the Gadsden County area. And for this to be Black History Month, I feel that the young man that is behind this is a native of Gadsden, and we're going to be talking with his COO in just a few minutes. So listen, let's get ready to join in the conversation. Listen, I'm going to bring Mr. Jermaine Beebe on, and I'm going to let this song bless you, and we're going to be talking with Mr. Jermaine Beebe. Listen, those of you on Facebook, I want you to go ahead on and tag and share. Those of you who are listening to us by way of the airways, I want you to go ahead on, get a neighbor, get a friend into this broadcast. I want to say good afternoon, Jermaine Beebe, MBA, the COO of Figures Communication. Good afternoon, sir.
Hey, good afternoon.
Well, listen, man, I know you're a long ways from the sunny pavement and the beaches of Miami. You are here in what I want to call tough, cold Tallahassee. How you feel?
It's cold. It's real cold this morning, but I'm happy to be here. It's about a good 8-hour drive. I didn't think it was gonna be this cold when I got here, but it's cold. But I'm
wow.
Good.
Hey, well, listen, man, we're definitely glad to have you here, and I'm glad to have you as a part of our Wake Up Wednesday because some great things are happening in the county of Gadsden, and we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. For those of you who are aware, it's been on the news, it's been on the radio, it's been all over Facebook, good and bad, the negative naysayers. But I want to talk, Jermaine BB, with you. And we're talking about the digital divide that's happening in communities all over our nation. Since the pandemic hit
Hmm.
unexpectedly, the digital divide was something that was highly imperative that we find solutions to. And when you think about the digital divide, Jermaine BB, what comes to your mind?
The digital divide is basically groups of people, especially in more sparsely populated areas in the United States, that are falling drastically behind year after year, decade after decade, and having access to high speed internet. It's becoming a huge eyesore in such an advanced country as we're pulling into 5G and getting these faster and faster chipsets, and you have people in, I mean, when you look at the amount of people, it's in the millions of people that are not benefiting from, prosperity that's coming from this type of connection.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, and one of the things that I feel that is so important is that when we look at the digital divide, you have to, all schools around the nation had to reimagining what school looked like. And one of the things that has been a major issue is for those in rural communities, not just in these areas, but across the nation,
Mhm.
in rural communities with single parents trying to make the connection and stay a part of the learning curve. That has been a major issue. I was just watching the news on yesterday how in Chicago they're in a major war about the fact that teachers are dealing with students who are not connecting, and just so much going on. When you look at the education perspective of the divide, what would you bring to the table as far as how important the broadband and internet service is for our
It,
children?
it's immensely important. People need to understand, like, connection to broadband, connection to internet, high speed internet is a highway. If you do not have access to that highway, it's like you can't get to the other side of town, right? You just kind of, you're basically on an island. And so what you're seeing right now in the education system, people are starting to realize that even though these kids are coming to school every day, that a lot of them are on an island. Once they leave those walls of that school, they are denied access to educational tools that could benefit them. And it's the impact is very, very wide ranging. I mean, when you don't have when you don't have when you're not in an area where infrastructure was invested in for you to have access, you are being denied levels of education, of job opportunities, of soon to be healthcare opportunities. There's so much that you're missing out in around you and in the world just by not having adequate access. So it's a huge, huge thing, especially the education system, where you have kids who can go home and they have access to the internet. They can do projects and have better education and be able to have better tools to supplement what you're getting in school. If the ones who don't are in a major disadvantage. Their homework, their project is not going to be as up to par as a child in a household that does.
Wow. And one of the things that I know that we're dealing with when we look at the nation as a whole, the pandemic has shifted the way in which we even live life. And let's, for before we dive into this, the technology realm is really the way of the future. It's the now that we have to become abreast of. And the way we used to do it, we can't do it that way anymore if we're going to keep up with what's going on. So Jermaine BB, just tell me a little bit about Jermaine. What I mean, because you're now the COO of the Figures Communication, and Mr. Freddie Figures was highlighted. He's been highlighted as the days. We're in day number 18 of February, day
Mhm.
number 17. Man, I
Sure.
can't even keep up with the days. But
Well, I've known Freddie for a number of years. When I first met Freddie, I was actually running couple other companies. So, just a little bit about me. I graduated from Florida Atlantic University. I have a degree in urban planning and urban design.
Wait, you have a degree in urban planning and urban
Design, yeah. So I have a really good understanding as far as like how cities and municipalities work, connectivity, urban landscapes, how technology works with that, and that's kind of where my expertise was coming in. I've run companies like that. I've managed and owned my own companies. I also got my MBA from West Texas A&M University with the specialization in finance. And right before I came on board with Figures, I was actually the CEO and president for the North Miami Chamber of Commerce, which is actually one of the largest chamber of commerces down in South Florida. And I represented probably well over 900 plus businesses in that area. And so I'm really well versed as far as in technology and community organization. And so when I started ready to operate, I'm also a very good operations guy. So that's kind of my, I guess you could say, my gift. And so me and Freddie just kind of discovered that we worked very good in tandem, and we had some big aspirations as far as where we saw the company, where we can be, and opportunities out there. And I've been stepping into that role, in the executive role. We've been able to grow the company exponentially, being able to grow into several other companies, which I currently run as well for him. I run about 6 different companies for Mr. Figures.
Wow. Well, before you go there, I want to back up a little bit. You say you served as the president of the Chamber of Commerce in the North Miami area.
North Miami, yeah.
I mean, when you talk about Chamber of Commerce, you're talking about businesses, you're talking about being a business world to help empower, enhance, and give enlightenment to the community as a whole.
Absolutely.
How old were you when you were tasked with that position? I mean, that seemed like a real heavy lift for you.
I actually, at the time, was one of the youngest in the state. I was 26 when I got that position.
You were 26 years old, serving as the CEO of the Greater Chamber of Commerce, with over 900 businesses that had to be empowered, that had to have the city aware of how these businesses become a part of what's taking place in the city, how these businesses are enriched. I mean, so you were the voice for the business world.
Oh yeah, sure, absolutely. Even more than that, because we were coming up right up at that time. They were coming from the Depression, where we're talking about businesses were collapsing all over the city and recovering from that. The chamber itself was even in recovery from that. And so a lot of companies were, I was tasked with, one of the things I was very much tasked with was helping the city get up to date with some of their process in serving those businesses better, as well as introducing organizations and companies to help some of the small businesses with technology, getting up to date with new POS systems, getting online. I did dozens, maybe 100 workshops just about the power of the internet and being able to be found on the internet, how to use Google Maps, websites, all that type of stuff, on social media, how all that ties together to create a ecosystem for yourself, that where you're not just viable as just a brick and mortar, but you're very much viable as a business online, which helps strengthens your business.
Wow. So with that being said, I mean, it's obvious that your resume is very impressive when it comes to not only what's on paper, but your hands-on experience when it comes to community, when it comes to business, when it comes to even urban and rural areas.
Yeah, I would say community is my passion. I've been in rural areas. I've been in very, very dense populations. I mean, I've worked in every type of condition. I mean, I've been to towns where where there's about 100 people that live there. I mean, I've been all over the world, actually, involved with community. So I would say if there's anything that I would say that's my passion, is definitely a community engagement.
Wow. And whenever you have community engagement and it becomes your passion, then we know that our communities are going to be better, because really I look at it as not just being a job, but it becomes a ministry. Because when you talk about, and we're on a faith-based radio station, and when you talk about community, we have to look at the fact that it's meeting the needs of people, especially when you're serving in a role as CEO of a chamber, because those businesses and city government and state funding agencies and those who are working in positions of power and authority are really depending on you as the voice for that chamber to ensure that one business is making sure want to make sure that you got their best interest. So you're really dealing in both worlds to make sure that there's a happy medium for everyone.
Absolutely, and that's where it comes down to. You got to have a good medium. It all has to work with each other because at the end of the day, we as people, I mean, prosperity only comes from one place, and that's from other people. And so we all need each other in order to make it in this world. And so businesses, companies, people, it all works. It's all interchangeable. It all works together. It's all one big ecosystem, and we all have to be a part of it for it to work. And when you see people who are have disadvantages, believe it or not, it disadvantages all of us.
Wow. Well, listen, man, listen, I am so delighted to have you on. And, for those of you who are listening to the broadcast, I'm talking with Jermaine Beebe, who is the COO of Figures Communication. And as we celebrate Black History Month, I got to do this. I want to give a big shout out to Attorney Charles G, because he's celebrating and he's highlighting men and women who people can reach out to, who people can really see and touch as change agents for African Americans. And one of the persons that Mr. G highlighted was Mr. Freddie Figures, who is a native of Gadsden County. And you've been a part of the company now for well over about 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, about 5. Well, yeah, about 4 or 5 years.
So coming from the chamber, coming from being the CEO of the chamber in Northwest Miami, taking on the role of COO of Figures Communications, tell us a little bit about what you all have been doing when it comes to community. You just told me earlier that community was definitely your passion. And I know Mr. Figures, he's a young man who came through adverse situations, who has a genius of a mindset, who God has gifted. And with that being said, I know how his heart is, you and him connected. Some of the things that you all have been doing that you feel like have been really major for you.
Gosh, when I first came on board, me and Freddie had dinner. We had a very long conversation. And one thing me and him both agreed on is that we're not going to be like everybody else. We're always going to look for the greater good. And so no matter where we are, we're going to make sure that we do something for the community to impact wherever we are, to not just take from the community, but also to give something back. And so we automatically decided that 20% of our gross revenue is going to go into, foundation work.
Wait. Mm-hmm. I got to stick a pin in what you just said. You said that 20%, not see, in the Bible, we're told to give 10%. Back to the church for ministry and meeting the needs of church. But you said that you all made a decision that 20% of y'all gross revenues was going into his foundation.
Absolutely.
Now tell me a little bit about that foundation, because this is Black History Month. I'm excited about what you all are doing over in the Gadsden area, and we're going to get to that. But I just feel that this is a divine moment that you're in the city of Quincy today, got here yesterday. I scheduled you for this program. You all are rolling out an initiative, but 20% of gross profits, revenue, goes back into the foundation.
Yeah, it goes back in foundation and philanthropy work. Because even before we formed the foundation, we were already decided that it's going to go back into the community. And so what we've been doing, just the philanthropy work and through the foundation, is basically giving back. And so we've done everything from doing bicycles. Last year alone, I think we did about nearly 24 scholarships. Getting equipment to schools, computers, laptops, hotspots, phones, getting people connected. People have reached out to us from different municipalities that we work in telling us community problems. From right up to, financing, helping a nonprofit with landscaping and getting their building fixed up. During the pandemic, when that hit, and there was.
Can I stop you, Mr. Beebe? Let me stop you, because you said something that I think is so vitally important. When we talk about companies, let's look at a lot of the major companies that I dare not, put on. But the question becomes, here is a minority-owned company, and you take 20% of the revenues and profit and donate to the foundation. You just said you all do scholarships for kids, disadvantaged kids, to go pursue their dreams, whether it's college, whether it's trade. When you look at that, what dollar amount would you say that in scholarships that you all have done?
Um, I don't exactly know that, but I would say it's definitely in the good six figures there because we support. This isn't a one. Most of them are not just one offs. So the full scholarship, takes you through pretty much your 4 years of college. That's as far as academic covering just academics alone for one person, that can easily roll into like $8,000 to $10,000 plus per year. So the scholarships are pretty wide ranging. They're very impactful, especially when someone gets them. And I personally, me and Freddie, we personally read every single letter that we get for that. And so, we're trying to, we're even working with adult literacy programs because there are people who didn't have anybody like us that they came across to help them, but they're trying to, it's never too late to change your life. Never too late, right? That's what that's why people go to church. That's what people go seek God about, because it's never too late to make a change and make yourself better. And yeah, people, hey, they were in a tough spot 20 years ago, and things are better for them, and they need a little bit of a lift. And we're doing that too. So adult literacy is a part of what we're doing as well. And so we have a very wide range, and we kept it like that on purpose because there's so many different ways, even if you do something small, that can go far, and we didn't want to limit ourselves.
Wow. Well, I mean, you talked about the fact that you all did a lot of work during the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, I mean, even before the pandemic, the hurricane. So, I mean, man, to just hear everything that you all are doing as a company and as a foundation and giving back, I don't think words could describe that. So during the pandemic, I mean, what was it like?
I mean, well, what we did with the pandemic, the pandemic hit everybody kind of like a shock. Everybody was like, oh wow, this is serious. This is something that's traveling across the world, and everybody was scrambling. And it just so happened that we had very good contacts, relationship of things we were doing already, and we were able to secure a very large amount of PPE, PPE material, and we were at that
not PPE funds, but PPE
material because masks and all those sorts of stuff. Because what we were seeing, actually, we were out there. I think we were out in California. And we had a lot of contacts, and we were meeting a lot of community leaders, and they were saying that, hey, we're not getting anything over here. Nobody's talking to us. Our medical facility, we're if we are getting something, we're getting the bare minimum. And I said, okay. And so Freddie was like, you know what, we got to do something. We got to do something. And we started pulling our resources, and we were able to do. I mean, I think just initially we did $700,000 worth of PPE that we distributed. I mean, just all across the nation to.
What you mean?
Minority communities.
I have to stick a pin in this because I like to be clear in our conversation, because a lot of people need to really understand the value of what you all have been doing. I mean, you said $700,000 in PPE equipment. Yeah. That means you did not get PPE funds. You distributed equipment that came from your foundation of it.
I mean, I think, man, we may have touched almost all 50 states, and we really were targeting, when we started looking at the number, we targeted, minority communities, because, like, according to research, the minority communities were getting hit the hardest, and of course, as been throughout history, they were the most underserved, put it that way. And so we really targeted to get those in the hands. We were able to partner with some really nice people, great community leaders that were able to really deliver on what they said they were going to do. And they did. We got with churches, we got with community leaders, we got with, anybody that we knew that had their community's best wishes at heart and had the ability to get people together to distribute. We were able to get with them, and we had a lot of help there, and we were able to get it done. And that I would say for 2020, besides everything I went through, everything we dealt with, that was a very, very high point for us. That not just the fact that we were able to get that the material, but was the fact of we were able to execute it, and that was a an undertaking that was huge. But as it started to to get out and get around, and God sent us some great people, and we were able to get that distributed and executed, and that was amazing for me. That was
Wow.
fun.
I know one of the cities that were very, I mean, I'm sure all of the cities were very appreciative of your kind gifts from the foundation. But I know New York City was just overwhelmed with appreciation because it was very tough for New York to get PPE equipment. I mean, you all were able to get some of the whole outfits that were needed for nurses,
Mhm.
doctors.
Yeah, face shields, the textile suits, breathing masks. It was a lot of stuff, and the requests were coming in, and we were able to get what we could get, but we were able to get a significant amount. Believe it or not, I mean, there are people. I mean, there are other people, especially there are a couple guys out there in New York that was able that got some stuff, but they were selling it. Right? You probably saw on the news people were getting in trouble because there are others I can say who were able to get it, and some of them did the right thing and got it out there for free, got it up to the right hands. But there were a good number of people that they chose to try to make some money off of it. But we were able to like I said, got into contact with some great people in New York, California, Georgia, and all throughout Florida. And we did that. It kind of reminded me when we were out here. I forgot what was the last hurricane that hit. We did a lot in Gaston too, where I think it was a Hurricane Michael that hit, and we really came out here and with the phones and the SIM cards and helped out there too. So we if we feel the call, we answer the bell.
Wow. Hey, listen, man, I truly want to applaud you all today as we celebrate Black History. I feel that it is very much applaudable for Mr. Figures, his foundation, and all the work that you all do throughout this nation to help secure what is needed in our communities. I know one of the things that was really amazing was some work that you all did in Puerto Rico when the hurricane hit. I mean, they were without phone services. No one was able to communicate, and y'all flew over and did a big donation to those residents.
Yeah, we were, gosh, through some another great connections, we were able to get, I forget the amount off the top of my head, but it was tens of thousands of activated SIM cards for people to be able to
So,
call and make
so
calls.
these were Figures SIM cards for Figures phones that people were able to use.
Yes, because I mean, communication was getting knocked out all over the place, and they required companies to come in and to help. And at the time, through a lot of red tape, big companies, that's different. We have a big company. Sometimes you can't move as fast. And so we were able to leverage some good relationships we had and got them over there. And I mean, the impact was immediate because we started hearing a lot of stories of people that had a way out. Right? They had loved ones here in the mainland, but they couldn't contact anybody to even say, hey, like, can you send me like a glass of water, or hey, I'm alive. You get what I'm saying? When you look at the real impact of what communication actually means to a human being, just imagine like you just went through this huge disaster and you don't got your phone's not working. No one knows if you're dead or alive. And you're 2 weeks, everybody's worried. They can't come see you. They can't get a flight. Nobody can get in, nobody can get out. And so mom and dad, whoever your loved ones, they don't know what's going on with you. They don't know if you're eating, if you're sleeping, they don't even know if you're still breathing. And to have people tell us that, I'm happy that I was just able to call my mom in Florida and say, hey, I'm alive. I'm here. That was a huge, huge blessing to those people. And these are things that we take for granted. We can call whenever you want, but just imagine you're just not able to, and something happened in your area or something happened in the area of your loved one. You can't get a hold of them. You can't go in. You don't know. You're just praying to God that they're okay. You just praying to God that one day that phone rings and it's them. And so people that we were able to give that to people in Puerto Rico, and that was really great.
Wow. Hey, listen, man, I tell you, I really applaud the CEO of the company, Mr. Freddie Figures. I applaud the work that you all are doing. And I'm grateful that your heart is in the community. His heart is in the community. And with such a heartfelt connection, our communities are made better because of the work that you all do. And that was amazing. And I'm sure those 10,000 plus SIM cards, they did not cost those people in Puerto Rico not one dime.
No, no, it was all given out freely, and people were able to use them sometimes up to a couple months. And like I said, it made all the difference. At least until people were able to get in there, get phone lines working and stuff like that. So it did make a good difference. It was a good feel good moment. Like I said, hearing some of those stories of people just being able to just communicate and get some help, or just to let somebody know that, hey, I'm here, I'm okay. Give me some progress updates.
Wow. Well, listen, man, I tell you, this is what this month is all about. And I tell you, Mr. Freddie Figures and the company definitely is a giant in the world that we live in as far as the humanitarian work that they're doing. Today is a day that I want to talk about what's happening with the digital divide. You are now in the big city of Quincy.
Mm.
And today, you all are working with the rollout project. Tell us a little bit about the project. It's the digital divide that's happening in the Gadsden County area. Tell us a little bit about how did this project come along?
This probably been to work for a couple months. I was hearing, we were hearing that there was talks with the board, and how they
The
can.
board, what board name talking?
No, sorry, the county board, county
Okay.
board commissioners were discussing it. Several commissioners have brought it up, as far as COVID relief, and the deals being discussed of how many people are being forced to stay home, children forced to stay home. And they were hearing, as far as things out in the communities of the lack of access, and hearing from other communities of what they're doing to solve that. And so this was brought about as far as like, hey, did they want to do this? you know I started paying attention to it, just hearing about it. And eventually they had decided to put it out for bid.
So
And
let me ask you this so that I can
Mhm.
stay on track, and I definitely want to keep all of our listeners in tune. So basically, with everything that has been going on, not just in Gadsden but around the world,
around the world.
yeah, it has taken the world by storm, and the digital divide was definitely a priority as far as connection. So the Gadsden County commissioners were in discussion about internet or broadband services.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, like I said, the need was obvious. As you start, having this community get impacted by COVID, and having all these kids at home, people at home working at that, especially at that time when COVID first hit, early in the year. People didn't know what to do. They were just at home. And when you're at home a lot, you start to realize what there is a lack thereof, right? So if your AC hasn't been working and you're always at work, you probably don't mind it too much. But now when you're sitting at the house, you're sweating bullets, you start to figure out, I really need to get this AC fixed.
Right, right.
It's the same thing with the internet. It's like, yeah, we actually could really use internet right now. And that became a very obvious situation. And that this is not just about connectivity, that this is actually has real, true health concerns, and and prosperity concerns. And so that's where I think that started to become very apparent to certain members of the board.
Wow. So therefore, they put out a bid for broadband services.
Yeah, yeah. When they did that, I got on it. I read through it.
So let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. When it comes to the company and you're the CEO, are you always on top of looking after bids? Or, I mean, because I'm
We
sure.
have a well, yeah. Let me not take credit for that. We do have staff for that. So I do have somebody who monitor. There's a particular website you can have that kind of sends you alerts of certain types of bids. So it picks up keywords like telecommunication, things that would be up our alley as far as like, hey, we can service.
So,
And
so, so with that being said, I mean, when it comes to the Gadsden County bid, I'm sure it really hit home with Mr. Figures because that's where he's from. I'm sure prior to that bid, I'm sure you all are doing contracts all over the nation with some major companies.
yeah, we were already, in contact with, several different municipalities along similar deals along that line. We've done this before in other places, both on just as a freebie philanthropy side and both on the contractual side. So, this was kind of right up our alley. One of my girls that is on that site, scanning, brought that to me, sent me the email. I said, oh, great. It's in Gadsden. Freddie was gung ho about it. And, but, we saw, kind of where they were at as far as like in the bid. And we kind of already knew, okay, this is going to be something that we can really kind of we were already talking about, what's going on in Gadsden County and giving back in a way anyway. Because we were already doing the stuff for the PPE and all this stuff. So it was like, okay, hey, we were already looking at Gadsden just in general as far as like, what we can do. Because, we do turkey drives and we've given away other things around. So for us, we were looking at it from that perspective. It was like, this be great to just do. And, we came in and, we did the bid.
Well, you said something that I hate to stop you, Mr. BB, but when you say things, it kind of like lights a bell in my mind because you say when y'all saw it, you thought it was great, and Mr. Figures thought it was great, and you all are always doing things in the county as well. I know that every year you're giving scholarships to students in the Gadsden County. I know that you're part of a bicycle drive. I know that the foundation is helping families throughout the county. Even with PPE equipment, I think you all made a huge donation to the Gadsden area.
Yeah, we have. So we've always been, very, very much involved. And so that's what we looked at it from this perspective. It wasn't like, a big contract, big bid. But we just felt like, hey, this is probably something that's really more than it's being said on this paper here. This is probably something that's probably impacting a whole lot of people.
Wow. And with that being said, you all decided that, hey, we'll put in a bid, knowing, quite frankly, that I'm sure it was a little bit a part of Mr. Figure's heart to say, how can we do this? And
yeah, absolutely. And so that's what we did. And so, we put together what I thought was a very good proposal. And we stretched it pretty thin as far as like, hey, hey, this is the numbers I think that we can do, this is what we can give back. And we felt like we can do 25,000 because we looked at the impact, we're in Gadsden County, right? The overall impact, you're talking about 17,000 households. There's a population of about a little bit over 45,000. We may not be able to hit every single person, but you can, with this type of project, you can impact every household, certainly. And so we submitted a bid based on that to try to cast the widest net possible that we think within that realm of the budget, within our budget too, because this didn't reach our profit threshold at all.
And say that again. You said this did not reach our profit threshold at all.
No, not at all. It's not possible based on the terms the county set out. It's just not possible. But it's something we wanted to do as a labor of love. And say, okay, cool. This is the cost I'm willing to eat, and this is where they're at, and so let's do it. Like, hey, this is something we're going to give back anyway, and the impact is going to be amazing, and it's a great opportunity to just go ahead and do it. This opportunity may not come again.
Wow. So you put in the bid, and what's next? I mean,
when we put in the bid. The funny thing about putting in the bid is that we got a lot more pushback than I thought we would. We came in as the only bidder. We were the only bidder.
You came in as the only bidder,
right?
For a contract that was out for bid.
Yeah, we were the only bidder, which is, I was a little bit surprising, but I kind of understood it because, again, a lot of these big companies have much bigger profit thresholds than us. They want to make X amount of dollars, but they don't look at it. You know, they got billions coming in every month. They're not worried about it. But you know what I mean? So we weren't too surprised, but we know, okay, cool, we were the only bidder. I was kind of surprised with the board a little bit because there's a lot of pushback on our proposal. It's back and forth.
Wait. So we're talking about an African American majority board giving pushback to a native that's an African American, really a son of the community. You experienced pushback?
Right. Yeah. Actually, significant pushback. With several, one or two members of the board very, very adamant, seemingly adamant against us. I'm not exactly sure why, or perhaps it was the proposal, which I thought. And so, but in the end, after a lot of debate, hours long of debates, in several meetings, they decided, I remember the day our bid was opened, and after a lengthy debate, they decided to, after opening our bid publicly, to put it up for rebid, which was like really surprising to me because I was like, geez, that kind of puts us at a big disadvantage.
Wait, wow, I got to stop you now. You served as the CEO of the chamber.
Mm-hmm.
They opened the bid.
Mm-hmm.
You were the only bidder, and then they decided to put it back up for a rebid.
Yeah.
Have you seen anything like that before?
I've seen rebids before, not in that way though. Not normally there might be a rebid in where certain things were changed. They like, okay, listen, maybe we ourselves didn't quite understand the scope of this project, and this bid is perhaps insufficient. I've seen rebids like that, but this was just a straight pure rebid or rebidding the whole thing. Just the exact same terms. So they put out a rebid with the exact same word, everything, and I was like, okay, wow, that's a big disadvantage for us because basically a competitor, right, would have known exactly where we're coming in, what we're doing, and therefore can just say, hey, we'll do it for X, Y, and Z, blah, blah.
A little bit under your bid just to get the bid.
Just to get the bid. And people do it all the time. That's why, that people don't understand the bidding process. That's why you're supposed to submit sealed bids. When you submit bids, they're supposed to come in sealed, and they're not to be opened until the day of opening. So they have a certain date, a certain time, things like 10 o'clock in the morning or whatever they had it at, on a certain date. And that is when all bids that have been received are reviewed.
Wow.
And so that was very interesting to have the bid received, reviewed, everybody saw it, everybody looked at it, and then say, okay, hey, we're going to rebid. So
they rebid it. Man, I tell you, here we are. We almost out of time, but I want to take the last 15 minutes of this show and get right into, so y'all rebid it again.
Yeah, rebid it again. Again, we came back as the only bidder, right? And so, we got into this. There was still a lot of, I guess some people were having some real heartburns about numbers and all that stuff. But, the bid we submitted, the county wanted very good quality. So we submitted a bid for high quality hotspots you can connect multiple devices to that can give the amount of speed that we felt would be effective. And so that's what we did. And not only that, you're providing, they asked for 1 month of service, right? We provide 3 months of service.
They asked for 1 month.
1 month service, right? We're giving 2 for free, right? When you're talking about service, on average, if anybody knows who's paying for an internet service for anything, right? Even with your phone company, just for internet, they're going to charge you $30 a month with the contract, right? And so you're talking about, what basically amounts to less than $7 a month, right? So that's like free.
So let me ask you, I know that you probably, dealing with the CEO, Mr. Figures, to say they want 1, he said, let's do 3.
Yeah.
That's the heart that's in play again.
Right. Because we put it in the proposal. We were in the proposal, we broke down the map and said, hey, it was very obvious that, hey, we're not in this for the money, right? It became very, very obvious. When you put together a proposal, you got to break down your numbers and everything. We broke it all down. And it was very obvious, hey, we're not doing this for the money. We just really want to do this because this is a great project. We're really we can cover these costs. And it was very obvious as well that the money that you guys are offering to get this project is not sufficient, which is, if anybody can understand that pretty much tells you why nobody else bidded on it, right? Because
there wasn't no money in it for them.
It was a loss. Not even understanding money. It's a loss. It's a loss. This is something that you're going to come out of your own pocketing money with.
So basically, because of what your company does every year, it takes 20%
Sure, yeah.
To the foundation. Whatever the loss is, you're going to cover it as a
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
from the fact. I
Yeah,
see.
so that was our give back anyway. Like we're gonna do it. You can't, so you can't cover it all on, you can't write it off all on taxes anyway. So it's gonna be kind of an L, but it's something we're gonna do. It's gonna go great. We thought we can do it. Nobody else wanted to do it, clearly.
And then Fred is from that area.
Yeah, that's really what it was about. It's like I'm from that area. I know what's going on. I know the hardship, and this is a great time. Get my team involved, get everybody involved, see where I'm from. You guys go check it out. You guys will know the area. This is my first time ever coming to Quincy. That's what we wanted to do. That's what we wanted about. We wanted, we got our folks out here, boots on the ground. We're staying here. We're eating here. We get to experience it and see it from his perspective. And so I'm glad I was able to come out and do that. And so we were able to get that. It has been a very difficult road, unfortunately, but we have been able to start deploying in the last couple of weeks and really try to make some stuff happen. But it hasn't been easy, but we persevered.
Okay, so wow, so they go through a bid, a rebid. Finally, after you all bid it twice, finally you get the contract, and now you got to negotiate more numbers.
Yeah, the contract. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there. We specifically with the county attorney. Not to go into specifics, but the negotiations. We've done many negotiations. This is a simple thing here, something that should have probably been done in like a week or less.
How long did it?
My goodness, like over 2 months.
Wow.
Yeah, over 2 months of back and forth. I mean, it was.
Wait, let me ask this because
workshops. It was unbelievable.
I gotta ask this: for a contract to take over 2 months, it had to be worth at least 10 or 12 million.
No, you're talking about 1 point. This is in county terms and in business terms, this is a small contract. You're talking about $1.7 million.
So you've negotiated for the company contracts much larger than this.
Yeah, we were actually, while we were doing this, we were in the middle of a $15 million contract. I mean, those are far, far more. I mean, let's put it this way, right? The $15 million contract is half the pages of the Gadsden County contract.
So you're telling me that while you were negotiating the $1.7 million contract, you were also negotiating a $15 million contract with less pages than the Gadsden contract.
That contract ends up being like half the pages of the Gadsden County contract. So just
being that you were the CEO of the chamber in Miami, how did that make you feel? Listen, man, I don't know why I waited so late to dive into this, because I was talking about so much that was going on. I'm gonna have to ask the station manager to give me some extra time to pay for this, because I didn't know all of this. You telling me that in the midst of negotiating a $1.7 million contract in a Gadsden County, almost 90% African Americans, everybody who's elected, almost everybody, over 70% are Black. You're talking about a native son of the county who's Black, who has a business, and you're negotiating a $15 million contract with less pages.
Right. Yeah. And not to detriment everybody else, but I just felt like there was something going on there, really, with the county's attorney and that legal system there, because most of it was just it didn't make a lot of sense to me at the time, but we persevered through it. There was, I think what a lot of it, what that was attributed, that was frustrating, was the lack of response from us turning in our rendition. So we would turn in our own rendition and then not hear back from anyone in county administrative departments or legal departments for sometimes up to 20 days. The back and forth, the misinformation that was being spread out. I'm not exactly sure how things were getting out in the web and all that stuff, but there's a huge misinformation campaign that was being waged against us at the time. We just took it all in stride, because I didn't really understand where it was coming from. I don't live in Gadsden, I'm not from there, so I just didn't understand where that was coming from. But there was, the board was, was getting inundated with, people in the community getting inundated with a lot of misinformation. And so,
and misinformation can be very dangerous. The Bible says people perish for a lack of knowledge. But then when you get misinformation, you become misguided. And not only do you become misguided, you become really insane with what you're thinking. So here it is, man. I mean, I applaud you all. I applaud you all for the stay with it, the stick with it attitude, because
sure.
I mean, here it is. I mean, you're just telling me that you were negotiating a $15 million contract. And if I was to get the tithes from the 15 million, that would be 1.5 million.
Yeah.
So like 20% of that contract to the foundation. So you're giving to your foundation to help continue the work that you all are doing in the community. Over 3 million.
Yeah. So we're again, this was labor of love we really wanted to do. We wanted to give it to Gaston County. We persevered, we got through it. Thanks, in part to, help with the new county administrator. We were able to get through that because the deadlines they were setting that were being set for us were actually, became impossible. So a contract that we were hoping to have signed, I think we were supposed to have it signed in the very beginning of November. We ended up not getting signed all the way up until the first week of January. I think we got a signed contract back January 6th. January 6th. And then we started doing distributions the 15th
of
the 15th of January.
Wow.
Just so people understand, what goes behind, the contract, as far as like what the county was paying for was just devices and services. We were covering distribution. We were asked to provide attestations for every single person that was signing up, and so we had to set up a digital platform for that to be done easily and seamlessly. We're also covering our own PR, our own staff. Having to increase our call center to take volumes of calls because we knew that was going to come, and figuring out with the dollars that we had, how we're going to best deliver these at the best cost possible. Organizing, PR events and stuff like that. And so, that's where we are right now with this, our launch event today.
Right. Well, I'm excited to have you on in the middle of February. You all are launching a major initiative in the Gadsden County area. I just got word from the general manager here that, he's going to give me a little more time. So I'm going to call upon y'all foundation to write the invoice for that. I'm just kidding. But listen, so let me ask you this. Do you feel like there's a great need for the service in the community?
Oh yeah, and I'm not going to base that on my opinion. I'm going to base it on the opinions of Gaston County residents. We've had nearly 1,000 signups. We today alone. I mean, out there we're at the Goodwill Center in Quincy, on I think in Jefferson Street. I mean, we've had 500 people already that I've seen that have come through there. The signups have been going up. So based on just, not even from me and my research, Gaston County residents, they want this. And they're not, listen, people don't just pull up their car and stay in line in the car if they don't need something.
Absolutely. I mean, when we look at what's going on with the food pandemic, we look at how people are showing up at these food distribution centers like 2 hours in advance just for a box.
We were supposed to start at 10. People were in line at 7 a.m.
Wow. So definitely the need is there. Well, let me ask you this, Mr. BB. What has the last few months been like trying to get this program off the ground, working with the board and the other affiliates?
I wish I could say it's been easy, but it has not. It has been very difficult. Besides our logistical, things we have to do, it's been extremely difficult working with the county. And I don't say that to bash the county, bash any particular persons, but it's been very difficult, mainly because we felt like, despite our best efforts, we haven't been dealt with in good faith as far as in partnership with the county. We have a very specific contract, and one of the things with me and our organization that I'm very stern with my people is to remain within the boundaries of the contract, because you know how that can go, get violated and stuff like that. I'm not I'm not here for any of that legal stuff. So I'm very, very tight with it. And I felt like I just felt like many people in the administrative side of the county, and we've been getting requests that are excessive of our agreements, and it's been some undue hardships, and on top of that, it's been very difficult to work with the media personnel at the who work for the county, because it's been very difficult to get the word out properly. There's only a few qualifications that Gaston County needs to have. And, we're having people telling us that, hey, they need to have X, Y, and Z, when under the contract the contract is public. You can go in and read it. All you need is to be a Gaston County resident since March 1st, 2020, and to have proof of ID.
That's it.
That's it. That you do not require for you to give me a W-9 with your social security number on it. I don't need your utility bill. We're a tech company. And people understand what tech companies, we're all about privacy of information, right? Because that's kind of the big. Everybody knows that's one of the big. If you're in tech, that's one of the big tenements of tech for you to get respected out here. Respect other people's information, personal information. So we weren't going to do that, and so there's been this. I don't want to say disinformation is being spread out there.
Misinformation.
Right, misinformation.
And misinformation is dangerous information.
Right, being trying to be forced upon us and forced out there. We also had to deal with a issue with the clerk and discrediting us as an organization. Which
wait. Let me stick a pin there. You say it because see, this is so important. You say you all had to deal with the fact of the clerk of the courts discrediting the Figures Communication as an organization, as a company.
Yes, I mean, this is a part of this campaign that's been going on. That like I said, I'm not quite sure what's going on there, but somehow an internal memo from the clerk goes out and it lands on the web like immediately, right? In which the clerk has made a statement saying that the contract that the county has entered into is illegal and disqualifying because FCI. Our Figures Communication is not a registered legal company.
Wait. Can I ask a question? I've got an extra 5 minutes, but so you all went through 2 bidding processes. No one else built it. You went through a workshop for 1.7 million, several workshops for $1.7 million, which you all donate back to the foundation on some of your contracts just to help other work go forward.
Mind you, this is a project that's costing us $3.4 million. This is a $3.4 million contract. This hasn't been out there. We've already spent $1 million
of your own personal money.
We've already spent. We haven't gotten paid. We haven't gotten anything yet. We have already spent. Like I'm hearing, this is my first day in Gaston County. We are out right now giving out hotspots. We haven't gotten a single penny. We have paid everybody on our own. We've paid for the devices on our own. We've warehoused them on our own. We've manufactured them. We've advertised on our own. We've paid for everything. We've spent $1 million already. So, oh God. So, man, listen. I'm talking with Jermaine Beebe, the COO of Figures Communications, and we're talking about the rollout program that's happening in Gaston County. The digital divide, and we're talking about it. It's in the midst of Black history. The CEO of the company is Mr. Freddie Figures, a native of Gaston, and you're telling me today that already you all have spent your business funds in excess to $1 million already and have not received one single dime. No, and that's just, you spend the money because you have to. We have a contract to start delivering. The program has to start by February 1st. So already, you have to start getting things rolling. And so we started getting manufacturing process. Before, once we got contract, even though we're going through negotiations, I already had, I was already beginning the process anyway. So the money was already getting spent because you have to, because there's no way, listen, 25,000 anything just doesn't, unless you're talking about leaves, doesn't grow on trees. You just can't go to Walmart and say, hey, I need $25,000 units of anything, unless you're talking about
get it in the same day.
This, I don't think you can get 25,000 individual M&Ms on the same day from Walmart. Like they're gonna, okay, well, listen, we'll get back to you. It's gonna take like a week or two to get all these over here. This is a lot of stuff, and so
So when you knew the number were going to be 25,000, your team already budgeted out what was needed to be spent and already started the process.
Sure, yeah, because listen, a lot of caveats were there. One, the board wanted us to get a surety bond. This is insurance against anything. If I drop dead, and we can't deliver, the county will get their money back, right? We spent $25,000 to get that insurance. We paid, that's the premium for that insurance. So before anything, this is not included in the contract. The county did not reimburse us this money. We spent $25,000 before they even voted for us to get the bid and approve our bid. We submitted a $1.7 million surety bond that they wanted to see security because for whatever reason they didn't believe us, right?
Wow. This is amazing. And this is amazing, but it's disheartening because here it is. We're talking about an African-American company, a tech company. We're talking about someone who is from the county of Gadsden, and yet and still a son of the county, should have been embraced, but yet he's facing so much friction, so much hardness. You spent $25,000 getting a surety bond just to assure them that if anything happens, you're going to get your money back because here's the bond that we've already paid for, and have not to this point gotten one dime.
No, we haven't. We haven't gotten anything, and we're out there distributing. I had the meeting with administrators today, and it appears that I'm not that sure if they intend to pay, because the contract that we have is very clear, and I sent over, I think 7 days ago, I called in and said, hey, they put a demand on us that they wanted to see all the devices, right? They wanted.
Wait, stop. Well, hey, listen, I got about 2 more minutes, man, but this is absolutely, here it is. You're saying to me that you get a letter saying would they get a chance to go see all of the devices from another company?
No, that doesn't happen.
So let me ask you this, as the former CEO of a chamber, and as a man who has worked with plenty of businesses who have done, here it is, the county. Let's talk about another city. Let's talk about the city of Tallahassee who's going to order 1 million bricks from a brick company. Mm-hmm. Would they go to see whether or not 1 million bricks are there?
No, it doesn't happen. They wanted.
So they wanted to see 25,000 hotspots with a security bond already in place. Yes. With a contract already in place, and that you're liable if you cannot deliver.
Right. And mind you, we're responsible for activation, all that stuff, right? So, I gave up, this is like 7 days ago, I said, these are here, come see them, come count them, do what they wanted to do with them, go ahead and certify. Waited for hours. One staff member showed up. They took pictures, they took videos. We have a next meeting here. After I called to follow up, I get no response. I get a meeting today in which they're saying that certification needs to happen, never happened. Mind you, I'm not contractually obligated to do it. It's not in my contract to do so, right? It's in our contract to deliver hotspots to the county residents, which we're doing, right? Hundreds of them, nearly 1,000 are going out right now. So I'm expecting that, hey, we're within our obligations of the contract. And now we're being told, well, essentially, I got told that they're not intending to pay. And so, we're working on figuring that out, but we're continuing. This is not going to end. We're not going to stop distributing, right? We're not going to stop. We have a series of events going on this week, and we're going to continue with that. But as the last talks I've had in negotiations, which is why I don't know why we're at negotiations, because we have a contract, that they're saying that, hey, we don't have an intention to pay you, essentially.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And I said, well, if you want to see proof of the devices, if you want to see proof of distribution, why don't you just come on down to this event we've been having since 7 o'clock this morning?
And no one has been there?
Now, one person in the county has been there, has showed up, has any attendance showing up, from what I understand. And they're saying they want to be proof. And I'm like, well, come down here. There's plenty of proof. And I brought you more than enough proof right? I went out of my own way more than a proof 7 days ago.
Wow.
So I'm not exactly sure. This is his first time. This is the first occurrence because in this business is service and payment. There's not any gray area, and this is our first encounter with this one. So, but I persevered through everything in the last decade, and we will persevere with this one as well.
Wow. So really and truly, despite the adversity, you are going to keep on schedule with the rollout plan. I understand there's several more events that are planned. Could you kind of like give us some insight on what those are? I'm got to wrap this up.
We got today, then we got Midway. I think this Saturday we have another one. I think Havana. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong. Havana on a Sunday. So we got 3 events, and then we're probably gonna do some stuff in between. So we're gonna be out here. We're gonna keep doing it. I keep my promises. I keep my word. So we're gonna keep doing it. But there's definitely some real genuine concern right now with the county administration and the board.
So here's the thing, and listen, I want to thank you so much, and for taking away from your schedule. This is the launch, the rollout of the initiative, and with that being said, in Black History, we're celebrating Mr. Figures. He's been celebrating all over the nation. I understand he's doing some work with Oprah. I understand he's doing some work with Robert Smith, and
got recognized by very big. I think he was just a part of Jack Daniels series for Black History Month. So it's really been great.
Wow. So listen, I want to thank you so much for joining us today. And the rollout program for digital broadband is taking place in Gadsden County this Saturday. You're going to be in Midway at the Lamb Community Center. What time does that start?
10 o'clock, I believe.
10 o'clock. So therefore, get the word out for those who are interested. And only thing you have to do is show proof of residence and have been a resident since March. No W-9, no income tax reform, none of that.
No, just fill out the form. We have a form online. If you want to see it, go to gadsdenbroadband.com, fill it out. And if you want to get it today, you just come down to one of these events, show them the tracking number, you'll get a text message, and you get your devices, and that's it.
And the device is already ready to go.
Yeah, we'll have an activated SIM card in there. So, like I said, there's 2 processes: there's the device and there's the activation of the service. That's 2 separate processes, but we did it. And when you get it, you'll get it activated. You slip the SIM card in there, and you're ready to go.
Wow! And these hotspot devices, has the county paid for them already?
No, we haven't got. I know that's been out there, but no, the county hasn't paid us any money yet.
Wait, let me start over again. Maybe you did not hear what I said. These 25,000 devices that you all have available that you're passing out now, have not been paid for.
No,
but you all have already paid.
Yeah, we've spent our money. We've already spent the money.
So there is no PPE money that has been given to the Figures Foundation or the Figures Communication.
No, we haven't gotten any type of money from anywhere.
Wow. Hey, listen, I want to thank you so much. And where can they meet you today?
You can meet me today in front of the Goodwill Training Center in Quincy. That's where we'll be. We'll be there for a couple more hours. Actually, I'm going to go back there once I'm done with this interview here. And we'll just keep on trucking along. And like I said, you guys come on down, say hello, take some pictures. We'll also give away some free T-shirts. We have a TV giveaway as well. We're going to raffle off. So anybody,
Figures TV.
Yeah, Figures TV. I think we're going to do that. Probably going to do that in about an hour or 2. And come on down, please.
Hey, listen, man, I want to thank you so much. Listen, this was only designed for 30 minutes. We have went overtime, but I appreciate all of the information. I thank God for Mr. Figures. I thank God for the whole team and the work that you all are doing to make our world a better place. And certainly, I've had the opportunity to have Mr. Figures sponsor some of our prayer breakfast events. He's a major sponsor of that. And so many other people in and around this city who have connected to me got a chance to meet him and got a chance to get their thing sponsored because of the relationship. And that's what it's all about. So once again, thank you, Mr. Jermaine Beebe, for sharing with us on this day. And listen to the family. Listen, you get out there. If you're in the Gadsden area, get out, get your hot spots. Just bring your ID and have proof that you've been living in the city since March 2020. God bless you. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, guys, and take care.
All right.